why is the 11, 11, 16, right? Well, this is part 3 of this kind of celebrity entertainment, political establishment kind of talk. You know, now I see it from the field ground, from where we work, relation with just affairs and contacts with the other countries and stuff, right? Advising about how our government looks at things and how we think that, for example, the Danish government is far back in human rights or far back in understanding what's going on and stuff like that, right? We're community field work. We also sometimes advise that it could be that some country maybe protect minority or maybe stop other people from hurting large population, stuff like that. So we are on the field, right? What I see sometimes the establishment, and that covers all over the world, is that sometimes the establishment, for example, in United States and in England and in Denmark, has been, in a way, you could say there's a cultural elite, which is politician, journalism. You could also call it them the people that normally address opinion or coverage of stories, often with some example of real cases, right? So what we see is some people, all of these people, is actually interested in other people's life, not only because they maybe earn money in it, but because they're interested in learning about things, right? Politician, journalism, artist, establishment, right? Also organization trying to help other people, state driven and not state non-profit, right? But I see there is always a risk that the establishment get too blind about what they think is right and what they think is a problem, and it no longer has a realization of what goes on the ground. That and sometimes it's pretty weird because they drive through the ghetto areas and they drive through the poor areas and they know about the stories. They get calls all day long from people that didn't get their pension, people that is put out of work with 5 minutes notice and stuff like that. So in a way, it's surprising that all of the stuff going out, the dream work, you could say, the entertainment side is growing, right? And that's a bit weird that it's only about that. I can see there is a problem in for the bigger companies that sells the IT, the PC, the channels of TV film, right? Because we can end up in a world where there's nobody to pay these bills. You understand what I mean? That everybody is having a big economical trouble finding, work and stuff like that. And then you have a huge industry in entertainment and TV and internet, and I like it, no problem. But I can just see a problem that it can be so time robbery and so expensive to each person that there will be no kind of savings and no kind of future of the next product. I mean, how much more TV can you get inside your living room, right? And how many hours can you spend watching or making films as I do, right? And actually it tells me something that we no longer talk to each other, or we no longer do that much favor for each other because we are watching in a screen, right? So I see a division of people. I'm not talking about the third world where there's maybe no internet or the war stroke area where it's destroyed. I'm talking about the civilized world, or we could call it uncivilized world, where people spend more and more time watching TV, right? And how much time is money, right? So actually all that time spent on TV and watching films and so on, those hours is money for both the persons own economy, but also for the big companies, right? So how are you going to solve that? I mean, what is the perspective in the future if I can't, pay for my rent because I have a loan in a TV company? So I also think the exposure, if I look at the exposure, for example, of the Kennedy family, right, which for me means a lot. I feel very sad about where I see the pictures of small John Kennedy looking like he's being really threatened, right, when he was a small boy. I know what was going on in the United States at that time, right, and I feel terrified by seeing this small boy running around by people involved in Second World War, Vietnam War, civil rights, and other strange things, right? I mean, they're valuable, but so actually the icon of the Kennedys maybe more exposed fear, I feel, right? And actually exposed fear of the worst things, right? And the icon is a bit scary. I think I'm the nation pride and the nation losses. I have it every day. When I stand up, I'm still surprised I'm waking up, or that I'm going to bed. So I know this kind of feeling the United States has about the most vulnerable moment in our life when we are really scared as United States, right? But I also know that exposure in the way that the Kennedy and also other president has been exposed for, there is a kind of like in the Royal Denmark and Royal England, a risk that the focus goes to again away from the community and away from people who maybe has just as much to say. Do you understand it? I don't like this kind of mainstream leadership. I think it's a bit frightening actually, where you no longer can talk to a neighbor because the neighbor has never met anybody except for on his screen, right? And from Japan and other places, you got a generation where some of the young people, you can't get them out of their rooms. They're playing, PC games or all day long, and they don't want to go to school, and you can't force them, and they just stay in the room. It even have a name, right? So is that gonna be the future of the world where everybody sit by a screen and watch everything? Like we also have a discussion about drones and stuff, you know? I had seen a drone mistakenly hit the person beside me because I was moving, and and um, and I've also seen entertainment or political and entertainment mixed in cruel way. Kill one, two, and a political three. My family, I was attacked in September 12th in my own apartment, right? So I know how dangerous it is. So in a way, you could say that maybe to the big companies, right? What is the planning of this? I mean, you could of course smash the whole thing and then build it up again and sell a new iPhone to the people, but maybe it's not the way right now. The big obstacle or the big things coming up for the planet is the weather changes. It's an overheating problem, and actually I'm sad to say that I can't see how we can save anything, because you have trillion cars with heated motors, right? Trillion of cars. You have trillion of homes with electrics, right? That is heating, and it's fire, right? Every motor on the way is a fire. Every electric thing is a fire, right? And I mean not a open fire, but it's a fire. And that will heat up, right? So the water will come up, and the world will save itself. The planet will probably survive in some way, and we will be reckless, thrown from the one disaster to the other, and become nature refugees. That's the future. So maybe we should go into planning how we're going to cope with that. And I think the military has a big, planning effort there, because that's going to be a problem. And you can kind of, you could see it as a crime or war zone, yeah, but it's worldwide. Do you understand?